Namaste and welcome. Thank you for joining this live session. Uh, in this session, I'll be talking about anger, right? How we can overcome anger. And I'll be taking up some of my learnings from my master Thich Nhat Hanh and some of my practical, my own kind of learnings on around anger, because I've had anger issues in my life earlier, right? So I will be bringing those issues, right? So I have made certain points, so I will take up. So I've broken it down to certain concepts I will share regarding anger. First, I will share some concepts, then some ideas, and the third thing that I will share is some actionable points, some action points, what we can do in our daily life to come out of anger, right? So just a second. Right. Okay. So regarding anger, so when anger manifests in us, so first we need to understand, I hope I'm audible. So first we need to understand where from this anger is coming, right? So what the concept, the first concept is that we have, our mind is, there are two layers of our mind. One is the conscious mind, in which the anger, we can feel that there is anger coming up, and then there is a store consciousness, which is the subconscious mind, right? So in our subconscious mind, the anger is present in the seed form, right? So even in the most calmest of people, you'll find a lot of people who are very calm, but inside every one of us have the seeds of anger, right? For some people it manifests, the seeds of anger are very strong, so it manifests from time to time, and in some people they are dormant, right? So it is not that only the person who is actually angry is really angry person. No, even a person who looks very calm on the surface, he also has anger. So it all depends on, so that is that seed of karma, right? Karma, or the that energy of anger is present in seed form in all of us, right? So we need to understand where from this anger is coming up. It is that seed that actually sprouts, right? The outside person is acting only as a kind of a trigger, right, for that the seed to sprout, right? uh, so the actually the important thing and very kind of in your face kind of thing is that what I do is that if I'm living unconsciously, what I will do is that I totally direct my attention to what the other person is doing or what the other person is saying, and he should not have dealt with me this way, right? What basically, as I become conscious, I start looking within myself, and I start looking at that seed which is now germinating and become a tree. See, if it is not now, it would be some maybe a few days later, and it will be some other person, right? But the problem is not that other person, the problem is, and actually it's not a problem, it's the energy that I'm carrying, is the energy that I'm carrying either from my childhood, or it's an energy that I'm carrying from my past lifetimes, my earlier lifetimes, right? Or it's an energy that I'm carrying from my ancestors, right? So not all of our anger is our own. A lot of these energies we carry and we inherit, most importantly from our parents and also from our ancestors. But we cannot say that it is my parents energy, why it should come. We are basically a continuation of all our ancestors. We Our ancestors are not separate from us. So our job, our duty is basically to heal these seeds, heal these energies, right? That is our job. We cannot keep questioning why. So neither question the person who is in front of you who is giving you anger, nor also question where from these energies are coming, why I am so angry from childhood, I have this anger in me, right? So our job in mindfulness and being more aware is to be aware of this seed which is now germinating and become anger, right? So second thing is that we also, like we have seeds of anger, understand that we also have the seeds of mindfulness and compassion and patience. All those seeds also are in us. So important thing to understand is that even the worst of sinners, worst of criminals, he also have those seeds. Only problem is that he did not, he let the seeds of anger and hatred and lust uh, drive him into doing things. He was all not that, he did not have that wisdom, to kind of water the seeds uh, of mindfulness and love inside him. So our subconscious mind is a very very fertile kind of a garden, or fertile soil. We have all these seeds. Depending upon what seeds we water, those seeds will, manifest, and they become trees. Now, how they manifest? They manifest as anger, they manifest as anxiety, they manifest as fear. So what our job is that we should not focus too much on the why this anger is coming up in me, why I'm always grumpy, or why I'm always angry. We have to acknowledge that this is actually just a kind of a, this is the result of the cause is there inside us, right? That is first thing. Now, the one more thing is that as if the seeds of anger become stronger and stronger. So if you do not heal the energy of anger within you, if you do not practice mindful living, mindful breathing, then what happens is that the seeds of anger, or if you kind of, drown yourself in kind of unmindful consumption like alcohol or drugs or work, you kind of put it down, under the carpet, then the anger seeds of anger will become more strong, and then they will come more strongly, right? So people who do not work on their anger issues, over time, over years in their life, they start observing that the anger becomes more stronger. And then everyone knows what anger does. It breaks families, it causes a lot of damage, right? So that's why, uh, if the seeds of anger become very strong, then the seeds of compassion have a less chance to arise, right? Because then our mind will be totally dominated, always dominated by the anger. The seeds of compassion and love and mindfulness which are there in us will not get a chance to come up, right? But if our energy of mindfulness is strong, if every day we practice mindfulness and we practice meditation, right? And if the energy of mindfulness awareness is strong in us, then it will be very easy, and we will be able to recognize. What we have to do is basically just to recognize this anger that is coming up in us, and let that recognition take care of that. We don't have to do anything special, we don't have to repress our anger. Just acknowledge, recognize, and look deeply into that anger, right? Another concept is that many things will come up to support your anger. There will be images, there will be kind of images of uh, someone who hurt you in the past. Memories will come up, then the entire body will heat up. All these things will actually support your anger, right? So it's like a storm that comes, and it is in that storm that, if you are mindful, then you will be able to pass through that storm, you will be able to stay aware. And if you're not mindful, then it will just pull you in a direction. You will say things, you will do things which you will later on regret, and there guilt will come in you that I should not have done like this, right? So very important to practice mindfulness when times are good in life, right? Practice, generate the spiritual energy of mindfulness when the times are good. If you think that, when anger or these things become very strong in you and then you try to practice, it is not very easy, right? When you are having that emotion and someone tells you one good thing, any thing of wisdom, you will say, what nonsense it is, right? So when the times are good, when things are good in your life, that is the time to start practicing meditation. Do some basic, start with basic 10 minutes meditation, and then generate the energy of mindfulness. That spiritual energy will help you when you go through these difficult storm like situations. uh, then one concept which I already shared, that many a times we carry these traits from our parents, right? So who we are not separate from our parents, we are not separate from our ancestors. So they have faced certain situations in life that has generated the energy of anger in them, and because they were so busy and to in surviving and everything, things were not good at their time. When our ancestors, they had to do so many things to just take care of their family, and though they were not able to have those ways, or know those techniques on how to manage their anger. So what happened is, anger got passed on from one generation to another generation, right? And simply through us, it came to us. But if we do not, so that anger is basically an opportunity for us to heal. Because if we do not heal that, then it will pass on to our children. And the more actually we get that perspective that certain traits, certain, it may be anger, or it may be anxiety, or it may be other things, that we have actually got it from our parents. We first, what it will help us is that we will be able to kind of uh, kind of forgive ourselves, right? Otherwise what happens is that, one is the anger that comes up in us, and the second thing that comes up is that sense of deep sense of anger on ourselves, or guilt that comes, that how we are like this, why I get angry on my family, why I get angry on my work colleagues. And that is the second layer of suffering we build. So the first thing is that when I recognize that this is something that it's not my own, I have inherited from my parents, then I can at least first forgive myself. Second very important thing is that I can start forgiving my parents, right? If so there was Thai was giving an example of a child, of a 12-year-old child who had a lot of resentment against his father, that he was very angry, and suddenly one day he started exhibiting, he was practicing mindfulness in Plum Village. So he was like, he just became that, oh, I'm like just angry with like my father. So first he was able to forgive himself, and second he was able to forgive his father, because his father may also have inherited from his father, right? So generally, what lot of times we hold a lot of hatred against our parents for some of their behaviors, uh, but we have to also realize that they could do best in their capacity, right? There are certain things that they were not able to heal, right? And it has just come to us, and we also start forgiving them from for their certain behaviors, right? So when this insight comes, then we get out of our victim mindset, and we realize that, our father or our mother or our, someone in our ancestral line was also a victim. And when we do that, when that insight comes, so this is all a kind of a game of insight, getting the right insight, which is called vipassana in Hindi. The more I'm mindful, the more I acknowledge this emotion in me, the more I am able to see the roots of those emotions. What happens is I get insight, I get vipassana, and that insight actually liberates not only me. When I get that insight, that is, it's something which is there coming from my father, then I not only liberate myself, I liberate my father. My father is not outside me. My father, our parents, they are inside us, our ancestors are inside us in energy form. So I not only liberate myself, I liberate my father, I liberate all my ancestors. So this is how ancestral healing takes place. When we heal ourselves, when we acknowledge these feelings inside us, when we start acknowledging this shadow that is inside us, right? So even I would just take my opportunity of sharing my story. So even in my life, I have observed certain, so my father, very good person, I am also a good person, but I have inherited certain traits of anger. The way sometimes I just, that anger comes out in terms of towards my family members. And over time in my mindfulness journey, so I've been like practicing very dedicatedly mindfulness since 2015, when I started reading the book Power of Now, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And from there, as I practiced mindfulness, I started looking deeply into my own anger, and I started realizing that my father also had the same kind of anger, right? So sometimes if I'm angry on my wife, I realized that my father had the same type of anger towards her mother, and he was very loving person, very good person. But there are these traits that he was carrying, and there was these traits that I am carrying on. So my job is not to like blame myself or blame my father or whatever anger is there in me. My job is just to be more and more mindful, and be more and more acknowledging of this anger, how it is manifesting in my body, the kind of sensations that arise in me, and practice some form of kind of mindful walking, mindful breathing, right? So that I can see through this phase, I can generate the energy of mindfulness which takes care of the anger, right? And also mindfulness, as I explained, the more you become kind of mindful towards your anger, and you, what basically it does is that when our mind is all scattered, when anger is in us, then we are not able to look deeply, we are not able to get any insight. So what mindfulness does is that it brings us from the scattered mind to makes us one mind, right? And that one mind, that concentrated mind, can then look deeply into the anger which is manifesting, and that mind can then get insight, and can get some certain realizations, right? So these were some concepts. Now some ideas, let us come to some ideas. So first idea is, when anger manifests, do not allow that anger to be alone, right? That is, that anger, that seed is just germinating, and if you just leave it alone, it will cause damage, right? Anger, if left alone, if we are, so how we leave anger alone is that we are unconscious. We just get drawn in that anger, and we say certain things and do certain things which cause a lot of damage in our relationships, be it work relationships, or family relationships. So what we have to do is that we will not allow anger to be alone, right? So we what we do is that we will start practicing mindfulness of anger, right? Like we practice mindfulness of breathing, the in and out of the breathing. We start becoming mindful of this anger, the emotion as it is arising in us, right? And we can say that right now I'll not saying Abhinav will not say Abhinav is angry. Abhinav will say that right now I just realize, I just acknowledge that this anger is coming up in me, right? And you can do it even in the worst times when you are actually angry, right? Your body is heating up, and and in that you can still have that, carry that recognition that I'm angry. If you can do it even for a few moments, you are on your way, you know to healing this energy, right? So do not leave your anger alone. Bring the energy of mindfulness to your anger, right? Acknowledge this anger. Then what we can do is that we can go back to our breathing, right? The more we go back to our breathing, how going back to our breathing, that when anger is manifested in us, we just go back to our belly. So instead of remaining here in our mind, we go back to our belly, and the in and out of the belly, just focus, bring our attention to the in of the belly as it moves. As we take the breath, our belly goes out, and when we exhale, our belly goes in. So what we need to do not change the breathing pattern, just bring your focus on the in and out movement of the belly, right? Just allow yourself to breathe. So when you do that, what happens, the practical thing, what happens is that you get out of that the anger which is there in your mind. You come to your belly, and the in and out movement of focus, you generate the energy, spiritual energy. So we are all I always say that we are all transformers. We are all spiritual energy generators. Just by being focusing on our breathing, we can generate spiritual energy, right, to take care of that anger. So that is what we need to do. Do not fight with your anger. Do not fight with your anger. Do not ask why I got angry, right? Even after that anger episode happens, do not brood over your anger, right? Just as soon as that thought comes, that of brooding over, or that feeling kind of guilt that I should not have said something, you can definitely go to that person and seek forgiveness. But do not kind of brood over your anger. Just when that feeling comes, just bring yourself again back and generate the spiritual energy of mindfulness to take care of that feeling of guilt or self pity or helplessness that arises, right? Then understand one more thing is that person who is subject of your anger, right? So some person has done something really wrong, and that person is also suffering, right? So generating that inside in us, that that person whom we are angry, he doesn't have resources or the wisdom to act in a right way, and he also may be suffering. And so just we can bring that insight in us in the way when we are angry with that person, right? Then we have to also be mindful of our speech, right? Kind of we also have to be mindful of how our anger, when we become angry, can destroy, can damage things, right? So we can also bring our mindfulness to all those things that can happen if we do not control our anger, right? So just some, you can visualize the impact that it can have if we cannot take care of our anger. Now some action points that I will say. First thing, as now I've captured all these action points in the earlier things, but still, first, practice some form of meditation and mindfulness during your regular days, right? Do not wait for the anger to manifest and become uncontrollable, and then you start a practice of meditation. How to start a practice of meditation if you're not practicing meditation? Just sit for 10 minutes and focus on the in and out movement of your belly, right? The in and out movement of the belly. Do not change the breathing. This is called simple anapan dhyan, anapan meditation. Start this for 10 minutes, and then you can increase uh, uh, as you can increase, right? So that is the first thing you can start. Do this. Even if you start doing 10 minutes of daily meditation, it will make a big change in you. It will start making those changes in you, create those subtle shifts in you on coming out of this anger in day to day life. That is number one, right? Second, what you can do is you can visualize, right? This is again when times are good and if everything is fine. Even if you're an angry person, if anger is there in you, never actually say that I'm an angry person, right? Don't use that word, right? Just say that yes, there are times when anger comes up in me, right? So don't label yourself. What we do is that the more we label ourselves, we strengthen the seeds of anger that are within us, right? So just say that, okay, yes, there are times, I acknowledge there are times where anger comes up in me. So practice that self love with yourself, that yes, there are times, but I am not an angry person, I'm a good person. Then what you can do is visualize a person who you want to be in the most difficult situations. So visualize, just be calm, be relaxed, right? You can just practice some form of deep breathing, or you can practice just after your meditation, right? So when you meditate like for 10-15 minutes and you are very calm, what happens is the alpha state in the brain is active at that time. So at that time, whatever intention you take or whatever kind of the visualization can you do is more powerful, right? So you can just visual see, you don't need any complex kind of sound tapes or some meditations and all, not required. Just visualize yourself as a happy smiling person, a person who is smiling in the face of difficult situations. Visualize, bring more and more. When you are actually doing it, you are actually kind of reprogramming your mind, reprogramming yourself, so that next time when these situations arise, you have those resources in you and those programs in you that get activated. So one is the anger that gets activated, but at the same time these programs also get activated. Sorry. So that you can do this basic visualization, which doesn't take you 20 to 30 seconds, and do it many times a day. Visualize yourself as a person who is calm, confident in difficult situations. Visualize many times a day, visualize this, right? And then you can also do some affirmations like I'm calm and relaxed, I'm peaceful in any situation, I'm peaceful. What I used to do is you can just use even a worse one single word, like you can use the word as peace. It's a beautiful word. At the end of the day, what we all want is peace, right? So you can just use that one. I used to have this one word affirmations: love, peace, bliss. Or you can have a simple word like peace and just feel the peace all over you, right? And if you can just kind of do this affirmation, it's, I don't know, I'm not much into NLP, right? But these are all these anchoring phrases, right? So you can just have that word and just feel the sense of peace in you. When the negative situation happens or anger happens, you can just bring into your consciousness. So you need to be aware, so some mindfulness will be required, right? So in that difficult situation, if you can just be aware and you can bring that one word peace, and that one word can trigger a complete reaction in you, in your body, to give you peace, to make you in peace, right? So that is some one word, if that you can use it as an anchor. That one word can help you to change your mental state in that time of difficult situation, right? So then practice mindful breathing that I already discussed. Acknowledge the mindfulness, acknowledge, we practice more mindfulness of the anger becoming a formation. So this was just, so instead of focusing outside, just focus inside, that okay, right now this seed that was there in me, that is just becoming a tree, that is just coming up as a mental formation. This is a natural process. A seed will come up, right? So we don't resist it. Never resist. What, again, I'm again clarifying, never resist the seed of anger from becoming a tree. Just focus on watering the seed of mindfulness in you by mindful breathing, by bringing attention to your belly. Focus on making the seed of anger become a tree, like coming up. And then what happens is that energy of mindfulness, so this is your anger and this is the energy of mindfulness. The energy of mindfulness will embrace it, right? So what we do is we generate the energy of mindfulness, we do not fight with our anger, and we embrace it like a younger sister, or like how our elder sister embraces younger sister, right? Or how a mother embraces her child when he or she is crying. The mother doesn't keep questioning why this anger is coming up in you, or why are you crying. Mother just embraces the child in the best way and allows the child to cool down. And then when the child cool downs, The mother also knows that, okay, I have to change the diaper. So then she changes the diaper. Similarly, we have to deal with our anger. Do not fight with the anger. Allow the energy, generate the energy of mindfulness, and then let that energy of mindfulness deal with the anger. So this becomes our practice. So then, friends, what it does is that our practice is not on the mat. The practice is not just on the mat. The practice is all these kind of events and opportunities that that allow us to make a make that allow us to practice, make do our practice. So our life becomes our practice. This is what is beautiful saying in Zen is that our life becomes our practice. And a person who doesn't get anger, very good, very fine. But if I am getting anger 10 times a day, I consider myself more fortunate, because 10 times I get that opportunity to bring my awareness to my anger and heal my anger and go deep into spirituality. This is a wonderful shift in perspective. So instead of, otherwise earlier I was like blaming myself for my anger and all these negative traits in me, I start embracing them. I start accepting life, that okay, whatever life brings me, my I start becoming friends with my anger and my anxiety and all those things, and I start loving them. What Jesus said, the beautiful wisdom what Jesus said is, love your enemies. This is very deep. When you love all these shadow side, these shadow elements of you, your life will, the transformation will start in your life, right? When you come at peace with all these shadow elements, then the transformation starts, right? So become mindful of the seeds. Don't water the seeds of anger even more, right? So when anger comes, what Buddha's wisdom is, Gautam Buddha's wisdom was, and also read about Gautam Buddha's life. So then where there are two people who are fighting and Gautam Buddha was there, what he did was immediately he sat down wherever he was and started practicing mindful breathing. Now this is like mind blowing, no? That two people are fighting, and Buddha also felt that there is this seed of anger that is coming up in him. So what he did was immediately he sat down wherever he was, and he started practicing mindful breathing. So what I feel, this is just my personal, that Buddha is the role model of what we all can become. So like Buddha said that you can become like me, right? So don't worship me, just become like me. You have everything. The seeds of Buddhahood are in us, right? The seeds of Buddhahood, the seeds of Jesushood, the seeds of Krishnahood, they all are in us. We have to just water them through our spiritual practices and through becoming more conscious, right? So don't water the seed. So what Buddha's advice and teaching was, I will also post something on the discourses on 5 ways of putting an end to anger. I will actually put that discourse, actually I will recite that discourse in one of my future sessions. What Buddha's teaching was that when anger manifests, I am determined not to speak. I will not speak, because see, in anger what I speak will be unmindful only. I will not speak some flowery and rosy things to the other person. I will actually speak things which I might forget, but that person can latch on to it for his entire lifetime. That person can keep at it and keep that hurt within him, or keep that suffering within him, for those words, and keep it for his entire life. And I might not be able to kind of seek forgiveness. So sorry, I just said something which was wrong. In my anger, I did not realize that it can, I might not even come to know that this person had actually taken it in her heart and kept. So what Buddha's teaching is that do not speak, practice mindful walking. We will just move away from that situation. So suppose you are in a work situation, something, anger or something arises in you, and what you can do is, what can help is, just find some time to walk away from that situation. Practice mindful walking, right? I cannot like go in detail about how to do mindful walking, but start practicing mindfully. Be with your body while you walk, be with your breathing while you walk. Become cool. So first we have to become cool, right? And then you can come back to the situation. Some wisdom is required, some kind of energy we should have in us to withdraw from that situation for some time. Let our mind cool, right? And realize that this all the anger and all that is arising is our own imperfections, our own. So if something you do, so if you're a subordinate and I am your boss or something, I can also tell the whole thing to you, and I can often criticize you. I can often rebuke you or give you feedback in a in a by in a right state, right? I need not get angry. This I observed, right? So I also handle anger issues in my work and all, and I've also grown. I have realized that everything, and you see people who are angry also, who sorry, who deal with all these situations with a lot of grace. They don't need to get angry, right? So the problem is not outside, the problem is inside me. And the more actually my anger is there, the more actually I'll find people, the more anger is there, I'll find people outside me who are imperfection, who bring lack of perfection. So I'm just a self-confessed perfectionist. Right now I have taken a lot of, through my journey and my spiritual journey, I've kind of come out of that traits in me. But I am like a super perfectionist person. I don't even like, if something is kept in a teda, I just put it in a 90-degree right angle. And all, the more imperfectionist you are, the more anger will arise, because in the world you don't find people who are perfectionists, right? And then slowly over time I realized that my perfection has done me only harm. It has taken my peace only away. So and the more perfectionist you are, the more you will find people who make mistakes, silly mistakes, that rises the energy of anger. So now I know, right? So previously I would have got lost in that anger, blaming that other person, but now I know. Now you cannot fool me, right? So now I know, I don't, instead of looking at the conduct of the other person, I look at myself, what is in me that is making that other person behave in such way. So this is deep, right? This is deep. Even if you can practice this thing 0.001%, and you are already on your path, right? So this is the path of healing, and this is the path of transformation, where we all have to go, right? Whatever we do, that awareness has to come in our life, if we want to make this life worthwhile, right? And okay, and then anger towards a specific person. So if there is an anger, if you have towards a specific person, and a routine or a family member, so what you can do is, as you can send, this is I'm an Akashic healing practitioner also, I do Akashic healings. And the guidance that I get from my masters is that this is a very very powerful way practicing loving kindness, in terms of sending loving thoughts to that other person who has hurt you. So someone did something and you have anger against that person, and you don't haven't have met that person for 10 years. Now what is bothering you is your own anger towards that person. So what to heal your anger, if you completely keep on questioning why that person did something to you, and if you are still, you will not be able to come out of this grip. You will be forever in this grip throughout your entire life. So understand the importance. Now what you need to do, now that maybe you are watching this video, or you are maybe some level of, so it's not, all these things happen through, not by chance, right? So somewhere, if you are hearing this also, it's like a wake up call, maybe to maybe one of you who is watching this either live or recorded, that we have to come out of this cycle of suffering. Something that happened 10 years ago, that was, there was a lesson involved. So focus on the lesson, come out of this. How to come out of this anger is acknowledge it. Another thing what you can do is that start sending loving thoughts and blessings to that person whom you are angry with, right? It will transform you, it will transform you beyond measure. And what I get the insights in my own Akashic healing sessions is, and the sessions I do with others who face similar anger issues, is uh, in few of my readings I've come across this guidance on loving kindness meditation. Practice loving kindness. So what in that meditation, this is again uh, part of the Buddhist tradition, where we generate the love in us, compassion in us, and then we send that love and compassion to our friends, our family members, our enemies, and to the entire creation at large. This is a wonderful, you can see a lot of loving kindness meditations on YouTube. I will also make a loving kindness meditation, I'm working on it, and I will post a loving kindness meditation on this channel. So whoever's voice resonates or something, and you actually don't even need, you can do it on your own. Once you can just practice, and you can do it on your own. Practice some mindful breathing, generate love, send that love to that other person. It is, do it for 21 days or do it for 30 days and see the change that comes in you, right? So this is it, my points are over. I sorry for this long video. but I hope you got some insights. Do share with you how you deal with your anger, how have you improved uh, in your dealing with your anger, or maybe from this video, whatever is that one learning that you have taken, and how, what change, small change will you bring in your life. Do share in the comments. Also, one final thing is that I teach mindful living. So if you're interested in how mindfulness can impact your life, see, my mission is to spread mindful living and the message of mindfulness, and how it can bring more and more peace in the lives of people. So if you're interested to learn mindfulness or know more about mindful living, attend my free masterclass. It happens every Tuesday, 8 p.m. IST. The link is there in the description. Or if you want to know how mindfulness can help you in your life, and how I can assist you in bringing more mindfulness in your life, you can also book a one-to-one clarity session with me. The link is given there in the description. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was useful. Thank you, and God bless you. Take care of yourself.